Hi everyone, my name's Nicole Copstick and welcome to another Next Stand live session. In these sessions I talk to digital nomads and location independent professionals from around the world about what it takes to live the life that they want, and hopefully that will inspire a lot of you to live the life that you want. So where do I begin? I have been working with Next Stand for the last few months as their communications specialist. And if you're wondering what Next Stand is, then I can tell you that they are the solution to all of your hunchback problems, or at least mine anyway. So they're on a mission to eliminate hunchback problems with, laptop hunching problems, one laptop stand at a time. And then beyond this, they also have an incredible social values. So they work with the Turing Trust. So every single laptop stand sold, or every single laptop stand that you buy, will directly support ICT education for underprivileged children. And so, let me invite Yury Byalik. Oh, I will wave to him now. So I'm super excited to introduce Yury Byalik, who is the head of acquisitions and strategy at Onfolio. So let me just add him into the room. Where is everyone based at the moment? Let me know in the comments as well. So today we'll be talking about AI and life and Yury's very unique journey. Hi Yury.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. How's it going?
I can't hear you very well.
Is this better?
Yeah, it's a little bit muffled. Can you try and just a tiny bit muffled? If you can hear Yury, then put a thumbs up.
Is that better?
I think it will do. I think maybe it's to do with the earphones, maybe. But if anyone is having problems hearing Yury, then just let me know in the comments and we'll try and fix it again. But I can hear okay, I think. So, where are you based right now?
I'm currently in Bali, in Canggu.
Nice, me too. How long have you been in Bali so far?
It's been about a month now, and then I have another 2 to go.
Cool. And you've been to Bali before?
Yeah, I was here about 5 years ago. I stayed here for 5 months, and this is my first time back now.
Do you think it's changed a lot since COVID?
Well, it was kind of dead here during COVID, but yeah, it's a lot more built up now, a lot more traffic, harder to find an apartment now.
Mm-hmm. I'm still having like a little bit of problems hearing you.
Let me try with the headphones again.
Thanks.
Check. Is this better?
Yeah, maybe, hang on. Maybe I'll just try. Oh, okay. You're going to laugh at me. It was my problem. I had my volume turned down. Sorry. Okay, so can you briefly explain your role at Onfolio and the businesses that you manage under Onfolio as well?
Sure. So I do the strategy and acquisitions at Onfolio. So that's on the mergers and acquisition side. So I help them do deal flow and prospecting. We're basically a publicly traded holding company. So we buy and run online businesses. So my job is to kind of find the businesses that we go after and do the due diligence and eventually acquire them. And then some of the businesses we have acquired have been like digital marketing agencies. So one of them was SEO Butler, which we acquired and now I manage, as well as another SEO link building agency called Outreach Mama.
That's cool, and very apt for the AI discussion that we're going to have later as well. But first, I've done my research. So you've had like a very unique journey to where you are today. You were very entrepreneurial at 16. Can you tell me a bit about your business, your success story with eBay at 16, and kind of your unique journey from 16 to now?
I'm not sure I'd call it a success story because it ended in a lawsuit, but I used to sell counterfeit watches and sunglasses online. I was one of the first people that kind of started the trend of selling those products online. So I started selling it on eBay. This was kind of before the days that everybody had an e-commerce business. And after about, I think somewhere between 6 months and a year, the companies came after eBay, so they sued them for trademark infringement for allowing me to sell the counterfeit goods on eBay. So they kicked me off their platform, and that's when I had to learn like how to build my own website and do SEO at the time, which ended up being kind of useful for me after law school. But yeah, that was kind of the journey there.
And obviously that's illegal, so we're definitely not telling people to do that. But I find that really fascinating because that's very young. Like age 16 is just like most 16-year-olds aren't doing that. They're not even thinking about running a business at that age. So what kind of motivated, do you think there's like a mentality behind that? And like what kind of motivated you at 16 to just be like, I'm going to start making money this way?
I think I was just like really inquisitive. Thankfully, my parents got me like my first computer, I think when I was 13 years old. And so, you know, like anyone else, I kind of just wanted to play around with it and do anything I could. So, you know, I tried doing like all sorts of different things. I was selling sports cards on eBay, you know, building some websites, doing some marketing. So I just kind of, you know, I like to kind of stay busy, and it's a great way for a kid to like really learn how to, you know, how to do stuff, is just get them a computer at a young age. Actually, recently, a couple of days ago, I met a woman here who was just telling me that her son is like this 13-year-old like development prodigy, and now he's already working with AI. So it's really good, like if you have kids, to get them started early.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so then after you did that, you started getting into SEO. Has your law degree come in handy with any of the work that you've done in the last few years, do you think?
It definitely helps with mergers and acquisitions, because I'm constantly working with attorneys for different contracts and agreements, like the asset purchase agreement and the letter of intent, things like that. And helps me also to read like you know, the letters I get from opposing counsel and kind of review some of the terms they have in there. But also just, I think having the law degree also helped me transition into kind of the phase where I'm at now. Because when I was in law school, I was building out websites, which I ended up selling to a legal marketing company. And I just happened to graduate law school at a time when the entire legal market crashed in New York, and nobody could get a job with years of experience. And there I was, like, fresh out of law school. There was no opportunities available. So I went straight into marketing for that legal marketing company. And having a law degree working for a legal marketing company really helped me there.
Mm-hmm. And then what motivated you to leave New York altogether?
Oh, I was miserable there. It was, I'd say, like, for me, I tend to have a politically incorrect personality, which is not acceptable in New York. So that was definitely like a large reason. I also have a lot of friends who are digital nomads, and so I would always see them on Instagram, like traveling to different countries, and I was like at a corporate job in New York, stuck in a cubicle, and it just got to the point where I kind of figured, you know, I'm not getting any younger, and it was either now or never, so I decided to make the leap.
Mm-hmm. And where did you go for your first destination?
Bali.
Bali. And how long did you stay there the first time?
5 months.
And do you prefer, because I know that you sometimes travel really fast and sometimes you do travel slow, which one do you prefer more?
I think it's a good mix. I think like 2 to 3 months in a location is best. It doesn't always work out that way because, you know, you get FOMO or there's different events happening, different conferences or occasions, and you kind of jump around quickly. But I'd say like 2 to 3 months is probably the sweet spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel as well. So what's something, I know that AI is fascinating you at the moment just as much as it's fascinating me at the moment. Like I feel like every single co-working space, I'm just having this conversation, and I know you are as well. So what do you think it will be the biggest impact of AI on the SEO industry, within the SEO industry that you work within?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be massive. I already see a number of people switching from, looking things up on Google to using ChatGPT for their searches directly. They have the plugins which are currently kind of, you need access to get them. But once you'll have access, I can't imagine anyone actually wanting to Google things anymore if they're aware of ChatGPT and how it can be used. It can integrate into, it's going to be able to integrate into any app that there is online, kind of similar to like your phone, whether it's Amazon or TripAdvisor, and you'll be able to have AI, find you the exact product you want, book your vacation for you, find the best flights. So I think it's going to have a massive impact on Google, which is going to negatively impact the entire SEO industry. There's already talk about like optimizing for results within ChatGPT. They're calling it like prompt optimization. It's still a little bit too early to know how that'll work, but I think the implications are going to be really big. Nobody knows how long it'll take or how big they'll be, but I'm watching the space closely.
Is it something that you're scared of, or are you feeling positive about it?
I'd say I'm like 80% terrified and 20% excited.
And have you been using it a lot yourself within like the businesses that you run?
Yeah. So it's great for a lot of things. Like I'll have it create certain outlines or just get ideas for, for certain titles for articles or meta tags. It's great at rewriting things in different voices. I use Midjourney to create featured images for blog posts. So it's definitely very closely intertwined with like my day-to-day activities now.
Yeah, I've been using Midjourney a lot and experimenting a lot with that. It's crazy what it can do now, like photorealistic images. It's a scary kind of time for creatives. Because of this, what would you kind of advise for someone who's a creative going into the online space, like maybe a graphic designer or a writer? What would you kind of advise them to do with AI to like avoid? I mean, I don't think anyone should be avoiding AI, to be honest, but should they avoid it? Should they start using it? Like, what do you think the best thing to do is?
I mean, I think if they avoid it, they're going to be out of a job very quickly. The best thing to do is to really learn and master the ones where, that they're really needed. So for designers, if they can master prompting in Midjourney and then, enhance the images with their own creative skills with like Illustrator or Photoshop, that's what they're going to be able to get the best results with. They'll still be able to do everything they have been doing. They're just going to be able to do it like 100% faster. So yeah, it's one of those where the only people that are going to get replaced are the ones who are refusing to work with it.
Yeah, that's how I feel as well. So considering that you work with a lot of online businesses and you're actively pursuing to buy on other online businesses from Folio, has that, I mean, obviously you can't say too much anyway, but has that impacted the choices, or has that impacted kind of the way that you look at online businesses now?
Yeah, definitely. It actually has made it much more difficult to evaluate businesses now, because you have to take into account like what's going to happen in the near future with these businesses and how AI is going to impact it. I've already seen a number of businesses go up for sale that I know the only reason they're for sale now is because I know that they're going to take a massive hit once more people are switching to AI. Especially like there's a lot happening in the software world where AI is doing a lot of coding as well, and almost every software product now is coming with some kind of AI integration. So you'll see companies now try to sell some of their existing like software businesses because they know they can't really compete anymore without completely changing their business model or like their coding. So yeah, there's a lot of different impacts. I saw a content website for sale recently about it was topics related to like coding, and it had like different tutorials teaching people how to code. Well, you don't really need those tutorials anymore because you can just ask ChatGPT to code it for you. So that entire business model it'll be extinct soon.
Yeah, definitely. And so do you feel like the safest place then for a lot of businesses is to stick with physical products as opposed to online products then now? Because that's something that AI can't really replace, obviously, is like the physical.
Not at the moment. It's definitely not as it won't be disrupted anywhere near like anything online will, as far as the online business phase goes. So like e-commerce is a good space to be in with physical products. There are still a lot of like cons in the e-commerce space. Could be fulfillment. Even just the issues with China right now, like that's causing a lot of problems for U.S.-based e-commerce companies. And depending how the U.S. relations go with China, that might have a big impact on the e-commerce businesses here. Every single business has like a risk profile, so it needs to be reviewed independently. At this point, it almost seems like the brick and mortar businesses, like for like restaurants and hair salons, are a little bit safer at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. So that brings us on to then the physical, very physical next stand. So I know that you've been using it a tiny little bit. How do you find it?
It's great. I always, without the neck stand, I always have like neck issues because I'm always like in an uncomfortable position. So I kind of bought it more for like health purposes, and it's worked out great. And I work at different cafes and co-workings every day, and I don't think I've seen a day where somebody's not using it. And it's funny to just see people bring it into like their cafe and set up their whole like laptop stand in a cafe. But yeah, it's probably the most popular product I see as I travel because it's kind of a necessity now.
Yeah, like every single co-working space I'm at, I actually saw it before I knew about it, if that made sense. Like I could see everyone using them, and then I just like asked like one day what people were using, and then it was next stand. And that's kind of how I found out about it in Chiang Mai. So what is the next travel place that you're looking forward to seeing then?
Well, I'm heading to Bansko, Bulgaria in June for the Nomad Fest. I spoke there last year, so I got kind of invited back this year. And then don't really have any plans after that. I'll kind of just see where things take me or where I get some speaking engagements.
Yeah, you do like a lot of speaking. Is that something that you're actively always... So do you kind of base your destinations around where you want to speak as well?
I applied to speak at different events, and it's one of those, like, it makes my decision easier to pick where to travel if I get accepted to speak somewhere. So it kind of removes just an element of work I need to do, because if I get selected to speak, then I'm like, oh, I know I have to go there, and it just makes the decision process easier.
Mm-hmm. And I know you've been to quite a few sort of digital nomad kind of conferences. There's like the DC, there's Banksco. Without, maybe you don't want to name names, but what's your favorite event that you've kind of been to so far?
That's probably the Dynamite Circle in Bangkok. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why?
I think it's been the biggest one I've been to so far, and it's just a lot of great people. It was well organized at a great hotel in Bangkok, and they did a lot of great events. The Tuk Tuk kind of thing that they set up to drive us to a bar one day, where they basically closed off the roads and they had like cops escort us, and I can't remember, something like 200 tuk tuks. So it was quite an experience.
I was there. That was so fun. Like 100 different tuk tuks. So for the next year, for the next 365 days, do you have any personal goals that you want to fulfill? It could be professional or personal, either.
So right now, I recently started working on kind of an AI startup in the sort of newsletter media service space. So I'd really like to get that going over the next couple months. So I would say that would be a goal of mine.
And how do you feel since you've transitioned from corporate life in New York to digital nomad life all around the world? Do you feel like your travel experiences have had any kind of impact on the way you view your work-life balance?
Yeah, that's always a tricky one, the work-life balance. Sometimes I find myself working more hours than I did at the corporate job. But I think at least I have the flexibility to work when and where I want. And also like the amount of work that I do. And that's not something you really get when you work for, like a corporate job and you're in a physical location that requires you come into work every day. So like I can work out of cafes here that have pools, and I go swimming during lunchtime, or I can go to the beach. So it's all about the freedom and flexibility. That's kind of the biggest benefit of this lifestyle.
And what do you do to kind of stay sane through all of this? Like I find that for me, I like to have like a bit of a routine to kind of look after my mental health and give a bit of self-care. So do you have anything in your life that you use in that way?
I think the most consistent thing for me would be yoga. So that's kind of, anytime I get to a new destination, that's the first thing I do. I scoop out all the studios and join the classes. There's a great fitness place in Nirvana where I do movement, mobility, calisthenics, and yoga. So I think that's the only thing that really keeps me sane at this point.
And you are a yoga teacher as well, right?
I am.
Technically.
I don't actually teach. It's kind of like law. I'm technically a lawyer, but I'm technically a yoga teacher. I don't teach. So.
You did your teacher training.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's good to have. If I ever had a resume, I would like put it on there. But.
So basically, when AI takes all of our jobs, you can become a yoga teacher.
That might be my only option at that point.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of our session. So I know you have to shoot off as well. So thank you so much for coming on here, and thank you to everyone for watching. This will be put on YouTube after, so you can catch it on there as well. And if you want to know anything else about Next Stand, you can go to the link in our bio on Instagram and in YouTube, and find all the information there. And if someone wants to contact you, Yury, about maybe business advice for their online business, or inquire about anything, how is it best to contact you?
Sure, so they can just email me. It's Yury@onfolio.com, or if they just want to learn more about the company, it's onfolio.com.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Yury. Thank you so much. And we will catch up again at some point. And this is the end. So goodbye, everyone, and bye.
Bye. Thanks for having me.
Bye.